and we came down. So here, the Bible has no reference whatsoever to any person that ever existed on earth, or any event that ever occurred on earth. But we have unfortunately mistaken the personification for person. And the allegory, as told in Scripture, it is an allegory. In Paul's letter to the Galatians, he tells us distinctly that we began, say, with the story of Abraham and brought it to a climax in the birth of this promise. And that the story of Abraham and Isaac and Sarah and Hagar is an allegory. He tells you so distinctly in the 4th chapter. It is an allegory. Well, if it is an allegory, then discover the great secret behind the allegory. For an allegory is a story told as if it were true, leading the one who hears it to discover its fictitious character and learn its lesson. So here, in my own case, the second time I could change something, and I saw it change as I released the activity in me. From then on, you become incapable of blaming anyone in your world for anything that they're doing. You can receive a request from the extended self, because everyone in my world is but an extension of myself. And I can receive a request from an extended self and grant it, as I would receive a request now from the itching back of this hand. And then, because this also is part of me, also extended, I reply and grant the request and ease the itch, where it of itself cannot do it. But this can do it. It's all part of me. So all this is myself, and one is itching. Itching for what? Itching for more money. It needs it. Itching for something in this world. And so within me, I have to grant it. And I grant it in the simplest way without any effort. And I do not raise a finger to make it so after I have granted it. I let it be so, because I have changed it within myself. And it's a simple thing, and I do hope you've been practicing. It's a simple thing, but you've got to learn the technique, because you are unique. I can tell you what I do, but when you begin to do it yourself, you will find possibly some little change in your own, because you are unique. You're not a duplicate of anyone in this world. In my own case, I take a man. I bring him before my mind's eye. It's a simple thing. And I hear him tell me what he would like to tell me. And then I become excited, most excited, because I want to hear exactly what he's going to tell me. It's all about his own good fortune. And I work myself emotionally to a certain pitch. And as he brings it to the climax, with one deep inhalation, I feel a thrill that goes through my entire body. There isn't one atom of my body that does not respond in a thrill. All I do is like taking a picture. I take it as though I set him up in this eternal state, and then I photograph him inwardly, and then let life now develop it. He may, on the heels of what I have done, go through a disappointment. Time will prove that that was necessary to the fulfillment of what I did within me. He might have gone through some trying time, a great disappointment, and yet that is the turning point in the fulfillment of what I did within me. He could be fired from his job right after I did what, to me, was the thrill. I empathized with him, and he's fired. Time will prove that the firing was a blessing. Because he was fired out of that limitation, he went beyond anything he ever hoped to do. It works that way. I can only tell you what I do. And I tell you it's a thrill. It costs you nothing. It doesn't cost you a nickel. At what time? Fractions of a second. Not really a matter of moments, that's all. When you really begin to put a point, bang, it's all done. And it's all within you, and then you release it. And you do not hold yourself responsible for one moment for its fulfillment, because it will be fulfilled. When you know Scripture, oh, what a book. You will never exhaust it. You sit down and you read it, and it's thrill after thrill after thrill. When you see that these are not characters. These are the eternal states through which man must pass. And man is the immortal one that I'm talking about. You are God. Man is all imagination, and God is man, and exists in us, and we in him. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. It cannot die. It did not begin. There is no beginning to man. People think, well, man began. You did not begin. Beginning was when you came down and began an experiment in that which is part of the eternal structure of the universe. But you, the one who actually took possession of a garment, you did not begin. You pre-existed. I came out from the Father, and I came into the world. Again, I am leaving the world and returning to the Father. And the Father is without beginning or end. He has no genealogy. And I am one with the Father. Coming into the world, I gave up my fatherhood and came down and assumed this for a purpose. I have now returned, limiting myself for a little while longer to tell it. I will tell it until the day that it drops. But at the moment that this thing drops, this garment is still part of the eternal structure of the universe. Neville does not vanish, never still is as a garment to be worn. But I, the wearer of the thing called Neville, I depart. And I am that which you knew before we came down, which we will know after we return from this fabulous experiment. And we will be brothers. The relationships on earth of father and children, that will cease to be. Husband and wife, that will cease to be. They belong only to this level. We are above the organization of family life as we see it here, and we're only brothers, all equal, and together we form God. There's only God.